Hi there. Today we are looking at gate 2 in the line 2. This is called genius. Second line is called genius, and the lifetime learning says unconscious and unlearnable alignment of stimulus and response. This is somebody that knows where they're going. They may not know that they know where they're going because it's a second line, but they know where they're going. The second line is not particularly introspective. They're not like the first line. The second line is just there in its direction. Other people project onto them that they're going in the right direction, that they've got it sorted, or the opposite could be equally true. Either way, there is a projection around direction. Ross says that this can be a line of deep madness, unconscious and unlearnable. The exaltation tells us the inner strength to focus and realize a natural gift for unlearnable knowing. They just know. They know their direction. They know they'll find it out. Whatever they have to do in their life, wherever it is they have to go, it will unfold naturally. The problem comes when somebody else calls them out and confuses them. That's when they can go off track. In the detriment, we have genius as madness, knowledge exclusively as power for the enhancement of the ego, the delusion that knowledge is power. These are the people who are going to say, my way is the only right way anyway, and I shall lead you there, although you may have to do a few things for me along the way. These are the ones who know, but they don't tell you. And they won't tell you because they want to be the ones who know. They have the belief that, the delusion, that knowledge is power. And of course, in the duality of life, we need this energy in the world as much as we need the other. There is no good or bad, not inherent in this. And the first gate, grounding this energy of the second gate, the second line is called Love is Light. And this is a gate of self-expression, as we know. Unless someone calls it out and recognizes it, it stays in its room. It's always waiting for the correct call. The hermit doesn't want to be distracted from the outside. Truly, they're really happy just doing their own thing. And this is lower trigram. The process for them is very internal. And like the second gate in the second line, if they're distracted by external forces, they can be pulled out of their self-expression, but not necessarily in the correct way. They may not have the experience that they are designed to have. So with this being the grounding to the sun in gate 2, it indicates that the self-expression must be correct to support the correct direction. Haven't had this for a little while. I'm sorry. I have a blackbird that is giving me a very evil eye. Hold on a second. Okay, here you go. There you go. I thought I'd trained them, but obviously not. Okay, so I'll get back to my thread now. No, I'm not going to draw the curtains. I love having them. They're not a problem, really. Okay, the grounding. Yes, so we've got the grounding, this first line to the second line. So maybe self-expression, then it needs to be correct in order for the direction to be correct. And always it comes back to strategy and authority. How else are we going to know what it is correct for us in this life? There are so many distractions. Obviously, we've just seen one right there. So many distractions. Is it part of my self-expression right here, right now, as we go through this transit to feed the blackbird? Maybe it is. Maybe that's the distraction that's worth having. I think the blackbird thinks so anyway. Ross said that when you're dealing with any line that could be perceived as being difficult, any difficult line at all, it's important to understand in the mechanics of it that it's going to be much more difficult if the center that gate, that line is in, is open, if it's undefined, because then that gate is a hanging gate, it's dormant, And it's potentially really explosive when it gets hooked up by a transit or by someone coming into your aura. If it's in a defined center, then it's a consistent energy for you. It's something you can get used to. You can be accustomed to it. It's your nature. So if you take this second gate, second line, for example, in an undefined G center, it can lead to people taking crazy directions, really mad. Whereas in a defined G center, you can have people who take unusual directions, but not necessarily mad ones. So it's really worth looking at the gates in your own design, because I'm not looking at these holistically. I can't possibly do that in the sense of how it's going to look in everybody's design. And if I just did it according to my design, then that might not be very interesting to anybody else. I'd get a real kick out of it, but I'm not sure that would really work for everybody else. So what I would really encourage you to do is, for yourself, look at these gates holistically. Find the software that works for you to have a look at how the sun and earth are looking in your design today. Get the full flavor of them that way. Get the full impact of them in your life. How do they fit with your chart? What definition do they bring to you that you don't usually experience? Those sorts of things are a really interesting exploration. And human design is an amazing intellectual knowledge. You can't argue with that, really, I don't think. And it's really important to have this knowledge, to understand it on that intellectual level. But it's even more important to feel it, to experience it. There's so much mind candy within the human design system. You find something, dream rave, go over there. And there's BT5, I'll go over there. There are all sorts of different things that really are like, then the mind tells you, I've got to know that, I've got to know that. But it's really not until you start embodying it, until you start really experiencing, that's what my wave feels like. Oh, wow, all these years I felt it and I didn't know what it was. And now I can really start to experience, okay, so this is my base level. There's nothing going on here. I'm not making any big decisions, and this is how it feels. And then when something comes in that needs to be felt, I need to sleep on this one to see if I want to do this one, I can really feel, okay, that's not base level. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready for that decision. Oh, I'm not quite there yet. But I can't get that from reading about it. And I can't really, and I can explain it to you. I can tell you my experience of it. But what's your experience? That's when the richness of human design really comes into its own. That's when we find the prize, it's when we begin to experiment and experience what it's like for us with our own design. The moon. The moon has not long gone into gate 36, the gate of crisis, the darkening of the light, or the lightening of the dark. We looked at that yesterday. And after this, we meet gate 25. This is in 1848, the gate of innocence, the gate of the spirit of the self. But we know that Neptune is here currently as well. So it's veiling our experience of the perfection of action through uncontrived and spontaneous natures. It doesn't stop that energy from expressing in the world necessarily, but we just don't see it so clearly. And then we go into gate 17 at 4:01 tomorrow morning, the gate of opinion. And this is the Ajna gate that tells us the ancient law that those who wish to rule must know how to serve. So this is a gate that brings a need of understanding how things work and the ability to see the functioning of patterns and how they fit into the whole. They are a logical thing, this gate 17, very logical. It's looking for answers to its doubts and its fears, or the doubts and the fears that come through the logical stream. Has fears about the future. Are we going to survive as a species as we go into the future? And it wants facts and details to back up the answers that it's receiving. So this is our weather for today. Thank you very much for joining me, as always. And I'm really grateful that you spend your time watching me. burbling on about these gates and lines. I'm hugely enjoying this process. It's very interesting. I still have the energy to be doing it. It's good news. And as always, go gently with yourself, and I will see you for the next one.